Side two. Okay. The activities usually included was 40, 50 people. It wasn't always the same people.
Mm-hmm.
But according to the American Army Register, they had 2,500 Jewish servicemen between that were tied to the Frankfurt headquarters, to the HQ, really, whatever, Gestapo headquarters or whatever it was. Now, we had people coming in that didn't belong to the headquarters, and we didn't get all of them, because a lot of the soldiers had many other things on their mind.
But what I'm trying to do is to make certain types of statements, and that there was obviously a small nucleus of very dedicated people. Now, Milton Marcus told me that he felt that there were some of the group was there ostensibly for social purposes, and it developed from that into something beyond just a get-together.
That's right.
Now, why were you able to utilize some of these other 2,500 Jews for other purposes? In other words, just because, let's say, 40 or 50 or whatever the number didn't go out on a Sunday, were these other Jewish cooperatives, did you call upon them in times of need?
Well, there were other people who helped. There were other, for example, in Bad Nauheim, CBS headquarters, where this is them with myself. Each one of us had friends that would help us,
who were not necessarily connected officially with the GI Council, but who
they may have come once or twice, they may not come. Not all of them were Jewish. But, for example, I had one friend, his name is Fred Kuh, K-U-H. He's related to some famous reporter, journalist, Frederick Kuh. He should be somewhere near Chicago. For example, he used to say, David, you don't do any black market business. I'll give you all the money that you need. Because we needed marks to buy in the store. So what are we going to use for money? So I used to, each one of us had one carton of cigarettes per week. I don't remember how much it was. But some people we would mail away and get another few cartons from the States. Some people were BTOs, big-time operators. So Fred, for example, would say, David, you don't get involved. You're too important. And you take care of the orphans, the children, that whatever you need. Just say, and every week you would come give me 5,000, 10,000, whatever I needed for the PX. Yes, whatever, because our salary, even though a nice salary, $100 a month, that's a lot of money. After getting one pound per month and a half per month. So, not a Hershey bar. So we had a lot of this, and the people in the motor pool, in various motor pools, because I could call up and say, I need a Jeep, and I would give priority over a captain.
Because you were the chaplain?
No, just because they knew I needed it to help the DPs. This was the attitude of people in the Army.
On a high level, was it official or unofficial?
This was unofficial. This was the sergeant major, some of the lower and I had one case, conflict with an adjutant. There was this fellow, he was Jewish. He came to the United States in 1939 from Hungary, I think, and volunteered immediately to the army to fight for the Germans. And I don't know, maybe from Germany, I think from Germany. And that's my prejudice. Hungary. And he became an officer, came up to the ranks. Now, we met in the synagogue, which was the DPs, the German Jews, and us Zionists. So one day he invited me to him for a chocolate malted or something in the PX of the Red Cross, and he said, you know, David, what do you think we start separate services for the GIs? Not to have the services together with the DPs. He said, our style is different. We want to pray differently, not their European way. I blew up, and I banged on the table, and I said, as long as I am here, I am going to pray together with the DPs. At that time, he had no connection. I was with the Inspector General. Later, I was transferred to the battalion headquarters, and he was the adjutant, and I was the personnel. But every 30 days, he put my name in. We never spoke anymore. But I don't know, he would always ask my commanding officer, do you recommend Mr. Shaft? They couldn't say Shafter. They couldn't say pronounce my name, so Shafter, and the commanding of the personnel officer would say, okay, I got my raise. But that was one of the few, how do you call it, clashes about working with the movie.
Why do you think, I'm sorry, do you want to say that?
No, I think, you see, the Army was very, Rackman, Bernstein, later William Haber, they were the people that were working with the generals. I had nothing to do with it.
Was there any reason why you wouldn't have more Jewish CIs involved with the CI Council?
No, we did. I don't think we tried. It just grew.
In other words, you didn't. You were there. Those people who would be interested would come. You didn't try to.
We didn't advertise. On the one hand, not everything we did was legal, so we were a little afraid. You see, one day I had a call from the CID or CIC. They wanted to find out what connection we had with the transfer, with black market operations across the border. I don't remember whether I was still in the Army or whether I had already transferred to the Jewish Agency. But I remember one of the fellows on the GI Council came to talk to me, and he said, we know more or less what you're doing. We want to know, are you trying to transfer gold, cigarettes, French stone, France, and so on? He said, we know about the people, we know about the welfare activities, that doesn't bother us. But we're interested if this becomes something else, medicine, opium, whatever. Just be careful. So that gives me scare. But it may be that just that our whole mode of operation was just simply very informal.
Did you feel that you could call upon any Jewish soldier and ask him and get response, positive response?
I didn't expect positive response, but I can tell you I had no qualms about talking to any Jewish soldier or any Jew in Europe.
And you got a good response.
We got more or less what we wanted. Well, then I realized that different people, he wants to sleep with German girls, so he's not going to give it time.
Right.
He's more interested in black market or so. And there were all kinds of things, and I don't think we could have handled much more. I think we were about at the top of what we were capable of doing in the voluntary group as an informal voluntary association. Because as it was, one of the things that happened, I became, as I said, everybody would be going out and I would be sitting in the office, waiting for calls to see that everything's all right. and anxious, no accidents on the road because it could be wind and snow, and rain. But it also came up, and I'm saying, you go here, you go there, you go there. And who gave me the authority? Nobody gave me authority.
How did leadership evolve in the group itself?
It was something very natural. I don't know, there was no...
But since you and Dennis have been involved in it, and so you
Yes.
were considered the natural leaders with Rabbi Miller. And
when he left, so that we remained together with David Marcus, who was also one of the leaders, and Johnny Lowe, who was there, and so that we were the leadership group, but there was fighting for leadership.
there was a fight between them.
Oh yes, I told you there was
Was that individual? Yeah.
Well, he was part of a group of the non-Zionist, you could call it the non-Zionist faction.
Well, you got to go into that. What was it, within the group itself? What was the what were the conflicts?
Well, this was the one of the simple things. It may have been something personal. It may be, you see, I just assumed that what I'm doing is right, and I just did, and I was very emotional about it. Now, any other Dingley, he became a lawyer after he was a judge. He's serving as judge in the military courts in the he errs now.
Oh, he's a judge.
I don't know. No, he's one of the people writing the law. That's one of the. He's related to Felix Frankfurter. Not Frankfurter. No, Brandeis. He's related to Brandeis. Some grandfather, something. Great uncle. He's named after him, Louis Dennis Brandeis. So that this is something. So that he had this kind of way. Lippert was. Judge advocate. So that, but I would just make a little corporal, I don't know. It has to be done, it has to be loading on time. But other people knew more than I did. And one of my problems was maintaining this kind of feeling that it belongs to all of us. And suddenly one day, he says, one of the fellows says, hey, what are you giving us orders? We're members just the same as you are. We decided, not you.
This would have been easier if Rabbi Miller had been there all the time.
Possibly, probably. But he wasn't always in the center of things. But when he did, he had this kind of natural kind of leadership. So there was, and he had the legitimation as being the rabbi. But other rabbis just didn't do it.
Do you know any other Jewish chaplains, American Jewish chaplains that weren't involved?
Well, look, Dowling came a couple of times, but he didn't do the same thing. There were many others.
What did he do? Do you know?
Where? I don't remember now. It's almost 30 years. It's 29 years now.
But your impression was that Rabbi Miller was a very active chaplain. Were there any others that you remember that weren't?
No, there were, but I couldn't remember now their names. There were some people, when the chaplains would get together, so there were some that would be more interested in the drinks and the good food and what is there nice to see around here and what kind of gals do you have around here. Chaplains weren't all made of the same stuff. They were made of different kinds. You had some, for example, some of the people from the JDC, and I used to fight with them because I couldn't see a man working with DPs and working only 8 hours a day and only 6 or 5 days a week.
I heard that.
Well,
I heard that there were some of these JDC workers were 9 to 5 people.
Well, they said, I can't take it for more. And maybe they were right. Or some of them. But our demand was, if I work 8 hours a day for the Army and another 8 hours a day, you could do the same.
So that this was
Now,
Do you remember any of the JDC people who were like that?
Who what?
Who couldn't work more than 8 hours a day with the DPs?
I remember one person, I don't remember his name, I remember what he looks like, a little mustache, gray hair. But I don't remember his name. Sadie Sender wasn't that way. It was Sadie Sender, and she wasn't in Southside. She was the big boss in Frankfurt.
You know, sure I'm talking about Syria one day?
No, Sadie Sender is Sadie Sender. The name came back. Later, when I was working for the Jewish Agency, I had much closer contact with the JDC in Munich, with the Haber and the others. There's another Haber, I think there's still with him.
There's a Sam Haber who's in charge of the JDC now.
I think that's him. He was with us in France, he was in Munich. Yes.
William Haber was the advisor, and Sam Haber was his brother, and he was working with the JDC.
Right. Now, he was a little bit of Sam was somewhat of a bureaucrat, but not, I mean, his good thing was that as a supply head, he would give a lot of things to the underground. He would help a lot, but he was somewhat of a bureaucrat. But it's very vague now in my mind.
What about any other chaplains?
There was Sam Burstein that came later, was in Catholic. Do you know him?
Yes, sure.
Second, where is he now? My wife used to be...
Fort Washington.
Where's that?
New York.
My wife was stationed pretty close, and they were quite friendly. Before you were there? Well, we met. I knew him too, and after he was married here in Jerusalem for a while, I knew him here in Jerusalem. And so we used to meet together in a crowd of people that were in Germany together. Lowe, Gilmer, myself, Bushkin, I forget who else. In the early 60s, yes, yeah.
He's a rabbi now in Fort Washington, New York.
Fort Washington, New York?
Yeah, I forgot that could
I just told my wife, because when I told her that you called,
we were talking about a chaplain. You mentioned Sam.
I remember about 12. I remember a number 12. And meetings, conventions, discussions. But
how would you characterize the chaplains that you knew without giving names?
Well, I'd say there were three types. Those that played a major role were the DPs, and there were some that were assigned for that. Those that played a major role were the soldiers.
I wish we could get to that, but...
And those that were just kind of passive,
You couldn't define... If I were to give you a list of chaplains, would you remember anything? Who fit into what category? No.
Well, extremely Klausner, the extreme ones were Klausner and Miller,
If you remember.
and DPs. And I think there were 12. I think there were 12 people assigned by the Army for the displaced person camp.
Right.
I think it was Sam Burstein and also maybe 10, I don't know, something like that. And then there were those that, I don't know. But
Well, the whole-
was in the vacation.
Well, the whole point is that, except for these chaplains that in 1946, I believe it was, that became DP chaplains, none of the chaplains were assigned in any way for DP work. The whole point is that they came, they saw what the situation was, and then they reacted according to different, their own different styles.
Yeah. And some were more active and some were less active. There's a guy called Seymour.
Stern.
That's right. Where is he now?
He's in California. He was just here in Jerusalem.
Really?
Yeah.
Because he was Dennis's boss. In the chaplain section, I mean, in a way, he was the Jewish chaplain in CBS in Bad Nauheim. And we were together, so that we started a
few things, but it was more our pleasure of being Jews together, and we went to Heidelberg to see the sites, visit the Jewish community, to visit the JWB. That was before, it took us a little while until this whole thing grew.
But he was involved.
A little bit.
His story was that he was moved around.
He was moved around.
And he claims, for instance, that when he was in Munich, he was beginning to do certain things, and the army may have transferred him to Nuremberg because of his activity.
Could be. That's why Clausen was shipped away.
Well, Clausen had done a tremendous amount before he was finally made.
I know, but he just wasn't that dynamic.
Right.
He just wasn't that dynamic. He was nice. But
didn't have the push or the drive to
do this. Dalit had drive. But I think he kind of defined his role working with the guys. I think.
That's interesting. Very interesting. Because he was there for quite some time, if I remember correctly. I haven't heard from him.
I think that he was also in Egypt. And if I remember correctly, he took Dimbitz, myself, and another fellow to visit Rabbi Herzog when he visited Cairo. We were examples of the American Jewish soldiers. When actually the three of us all Palestinians more or less grew up here. And we got into a fight with Rabbi Herzog over Shemitah. What's this playing games with God and so on. So he took us away. And then we met again. And we used to write things. But he saw his role of educating the Jewish soldiers, if I remember correctly.
Fine, well that can be checked. I hate to press you, but is there anybody else that you might be able to think of Jewish chaplains?
You said other people came into your area where they didn't do anything. Was it because of lack of interest or lack of just the fact that they weren't in the area? I don't know what their motivations were. I can know the motivations of the people that came. You see, the motivations of the GIs at first that came were socially, so there were Jewish girls that came there, both from the Allies and also from the DPs, and we had some pretty nice parties. And secondly, this was a very humane activity, and the girls came because they were very nice boys, and you could always get a Jewish salami sandwich and corned beef. That's the JWB. And there were services on Friday night. I remember one great big pulley party when we took from the opera house and transferred all the, what do you call them, costumes, and we had a professional, man that makes makeup. And Johnny Lowe was the rabbi, and they wedded me off Queen Esther. I was dressed like Mozart. I still have the pictures. So it was I think we had about 100 and 150 people at that time. Very big thing. But motivations were very nice. Perhaps if I show you, give me some idea about what's going on. But, well, I tell you, I was thinking of bringing the book. It has these pictures and many more. But as you see here, this is Ziegenheim at the transfer from the German prisoners of war to the refugees. Who wrote this about council? Do you know? I assume that it would be Yehuda Lev. Or Dimbitz. They were the writers. And this is one of this is Pearl. This is Pearl Fink. The girl I told her, she was an American. She worked in Washington. This is a Danish girl called Israel. This is Zilly. She married a fellow who's an undertaker now somewhere in New Jersey. An American. He was I think one of these people in the CIC.
David Marcus. And these were the orphans in Lindenfeld. We gave them the first orange to taste. These were the oranges and the apples that were given for the Seder. So we just took the crates. We didn't give them to the soldiers. We gave them to the children.
Did the soldiers, Jewish guys, know what was happening? Why they didn't have a second Seder? Why they didn't have all the fruit and all the things?
I don't think anybody asked. I don't remember now. If they did, we would have told them. These are all. Now there's Papa Levitt. He was in the PX.
What did he do?
What? Well, he was working in the PX, so he was one of our elder members. I think he even tried to come to his own. One of our, how do you say, artist members. This is Yehuda Lev. And these are this is one of the Hungarian non-Zionist faction. Very active on the welfare side.
But they didn't triumph in the end.
What?
They didn't triumph in the end.
Not while I was there. What happened afterwards, I can't say. I wouldn't know. This was another activity. This looks like Johnny Lowe's writing. This is there's a kibbutz.
Buchenwald.
Yes, it was a training center in Germany. That's right. And the people that were taken away in 1939 to the camps, and then they came back to Geringshof, places called Geringshof, and a lot of the people here are now in Netzer Sereni here in.
So they would know what chaplains Marcus and
Which Marcus?
Robert Marcus.
Possibly. I just can't remember the names. I think so. There's a couple that used to belong to this kibbutz and later worked for the Jewish agency in Frankfurt. Maybe the name is mentioned over here. Because, but did you see Zev?
Not yet. What was he involved with?
Well, he would be able to tell you some of his close friends that working in the Jewish agency were people from Geringshof.
Is he important in terms of the GI Council?
Just as a recipient.
Oh, he was a recipient.
Just as an individual recipient, he'll know what we did with the Jewish agency, vis-a-vis the Jewish agency. You see, not even his wife, because he lived outside. One of the things is we took some 250 or so of these chickens, frozen chickens. They weren't frozen at the time, I think. And they cooked them in the Jewish agency, and the people were living on them for months. That was one of all the extra food. But he will know you see, he will be. Oh, I didn't know that Shmuel Atzmon was his driver in Linz. That's interesting. He's an artist. He's not in Habima Theater. He's one of the famous artists now. He's a good artist. Different group. But because I didn't know that we had such a relationship. We know different ways. But what I'm saying is that this couple now, the man is now the secretary of the Central European Jewish Central European Committee. There's an organization here. The headquarters is in Haifa. And I forgot I met them at a friend of ours, Malka, in near Haifa. There's one of these boys' towns, an agricultural school.
Right.
And I forgot the name. They used to be my best friend. Malka and Amos. This couple still lives in Kvalgalim, and the other friends, their friends that used to be, Malka was a partisan from Lithuania, and she married this fellow from the Jewish Brigade, which was in Europe, first one that I met in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
His Amos Schlein, Malka and Amos Schlein, and they are in Kvalgalim. And this other couple was with them for about 10 or 15 years, and now he left Kvalgalim to be the secretary of this organization. They're building homes for the aged based on restitution money and stuff like that. And he's in Haifa. I can find his name for you in a minute.
Now, this would give me access to survivors.
These are survivors from the camps.
Okay, at this point I'm not going to take it, but I
And,
know.
and they would know now, and he's from Buchenwald.
Mm-hmm.
You see, he was in Buchenwald,
And
and
liberated from Buchenwald.
I think so. His wife was in Germany. It was in England. And
Well,
she
I have a lot of people who went to Buchenwald at this point. People that I met from the States. What about this? The Liberated itself, which was a publication by the GI Council. Do you remember how that developed? The purpose of this?
Well, the purpose was to tell the story. So I think it was more for the people in the States, yes, than for us, and also for ourselves. Here you have one of the activities are described. We put on a show. I think 1 or 2 shows, Shalom Aleichem shows, I think it was. This was again, you see, we wanted to do something with the displaced persons, so you have, again, so here you have this is Levitt.
Who is this mother?
This is the old fellow from the PX.
What was his first name?
I don't remember. He was called Levitt, or Papa Levitt.
Papa Levitt.
Yeah, in a way. But, this used to excite, this was one of the Zionist activities, going out to the kibbutz. The fellows used to enjoy coming there. Dave Marcus used to say, boy, they let me drive the tractor, run. They spend the weekend there and do work in the field, you see, and take pictures and dance with the young people. Here, you see?
Yeah, so this That's why the question was, of course, given that situation,
Yes.
it was still a small nucleus of people.
Remember, I left in March 1947. I was still in Frankfurt for another 3 months, but I don't know. This is names that I don't know.
So registered Allentown? S-H-A-L-I-T-A-N.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was the editor of Windsor Bay. The magazine put out by the Jews in Munich, the Central Committee.
director of Psaltheim is in Jerusalem.
Really?
His name is Zilberman, I believe. His wife was Hannah Leibovich. I think she passed away. Either he passed away or she passed away. One of them. She was a very important person in the Misad Assad in Jerusalem. She was this first Israeli Jewish Agency for Palestine representative that I met in Palestine, and she married Zilberman. If you talk to Zev Berger over the phone, he'll be able to tell you which one of them is alive. Either it's he,
What was his name?
Zilberman. He was the UNRWA director of Palestine in 1946-47. Well, I hope I've given you